You're here because you face one of the most important decisions of your life, to divorce, and you're not alone.
Most of us have been touched by divorce one way or the other. We know that nearly half of us, if we take into account common law couples, will go through a divorce. And so whether we're children of divorce, we've been through one ourselves, or we have friends or family, all of us have experienced divorce and have experienced the damage and the devastation that it can cause.
So you want to do things differently. Collaborative divorce is designed to do just that.
It's really grounded in a very profound respect for the client. And that you normalize that, yep, you know what, right now, you may not have the capacity right now to make really strong, sound, long-term choices.
This process of separating is agonizing and ambushes you in all kinds of places.
If you're feeling scared or angry or betrayed or guilty, this emotional landscape is the territory of a divorce. You will move through this. What support do you need to manage those emotions? You are writing the story of your children's divorce right now.
Lionel and Sally wrote the story of their children's divorce the collaborative way. They allowed cameras to witness the most agonizing period of their lives.
Yes, she wants a clean break, but she still wants all the royalties, and she still wants the dividends.
I'm the one who's lived this small life because of our children, and I love them dearly, and I wouldn't have it any other way, but
I guess I'm okay with doing it that way as long as she recognizes what she's getting.
I need to know that I've got a safe financial place to put my feet and start walking my journey.
Lionel and Sally share their story because they believe collaborative divorce is the best choice for their family. Over the next 20 minutes, we offer you 10 reasons why collaborative divorce may be the best choice for you and your family. You'll see how, with the help of the interdisciplinary collaborative practice team, one of life's most difficult transitions can be navigated with respect. To Lionel and Sally, collaborative divorce meant the end of their marriage didn't have to mean the end of their family.
For me, as soon as I realized that this marriage was not going to work, because it took me a long time to accept that, it was just really important that we figure out a way that this family was going to work.
Sally and Lionel drafted an agreement to keep the kids' needs first.
We want our children to grow up feeling loved and nurtured by both of us, and without a sense that their parents are angry with one another or conducting a quiet war behind the scenes. We want to continue to work as a team in raising our boys, to share in the major decisions,
to support one another, and to share in the traditions and celebrations we have established. We want as little change for our boys as possible.
Sally and Lionel took their shared goals into their first meeting with their collaborative lawyers specially trained to reduce conflict. Nancy is Sally's collaborative lawyer, and Danny is Lionel's collaborative lawyer.
Our goal is to positively restructure families, not tear them apart.
What we know in working with families is that emotions play a tremendous part of what's happening and what needs to be recognized.
Danny and Nancy used to practice traditional divorce law. Now they're part of a movement that's caught on in 24 countries throughout the world, including in Europe and Australia. And it's exploded in North America because parents are getting the message: high conflict divorce hurts kids. No one knows that better than Joan Kelly, who's followed 4 decades of divorcing couples. Her research identified the price children pay for their parents' conflict.
More problems with authority figures, more school dropouts, more problems with their peers, economic instability, anxiety, more problems in their relationship with their parents, depression. So we see the kids out of control.
But when a couple breaks up in a way that minimizes conflict, like collaborative divorce,
children who are not affected in any negative way by the separation and divorce and the subsequent years after that, but who in fact thrive, do well, continue to be reasonably content, well-adjusted kids who are doing pretty well in school.
To give your kids the best chance of growing up well-adjusted after your divorce, collaborative lawyers often work as a team with specially trained mental health and financial professionals to create a process that works for even the most high conflict of couples.
If I get the sense that there are potential high conflict issues related possibly to deep betrayal that's happened in the past, something that could become very inflammatory in meetings, then we will have a team meeting, the professionals, before we begin, and we will talk about, the question is, what do we need to provide for these people to make this process safe for them?
Collaborative divorce takes one of the biggest threats of escalating conflict off the table. Spouses and their respective lawyers sign an agreement not to go to court. If the parties don't reach an agreement, neither lawyer will act for their client or testify for them in any future court proceeding. This is to be a safe place to work out an agreement.
So the relationship that we're able to foster in the room will be one of as little tension as possible.
And it also means that I will never be cross-examining you, so that we can have candid discussions here, and you don't have to worry about, one day she might be cross-examining me and using, what she's heard in this room, and so you don't have to be guarded with me, and likewise, Sally, you don't have to be guarded with Danny.
I think that one of the things that Lionel and I have really tried hard to do through this process, is to retain our trust in one another, which is not really an easy thing to do in this place, but I think that this builds on that. So.
Yeah, I agree.
With Sally and Lionel feeling safe, both partners state what's important to them in this breakup.
I want the boys to know they have a dad and that dad's available, 24/7.
How about you, Sally?
I want to know that my contributions in helping build Lionel's career are recognized, and that my continuing contribution as primary caregiver is also recognized.
Sally and Lionel have resolved some of their issues. They will share custody.
And if the boys are with me, they know that Mom can drop by.
Child support is a given. Lionel will give Sally his equity in their house as a one-time payment instead of paying monthly spousal support. And he's worried about the impact of that decision.
Right now I'm renting, and it'd be very easy to get into the market and get a one-bedroom apartment, but that doesn't work, right? I mean, the boys need a place that they can call home as well, and I think that's really important.
Then he's disenfranchised. That's what he's worried about.
I totally get his fear, and I too want him back in the market. I want him close by so that he has lots of time with the kids. I think it's really important, and I know it's really hard. I see what the house prices are, and I know that it's hard. But there's this bitchy little part of me that also says, yeah, and this was your decision. Sorry.
So I actually want to take your last little comment and talk about what's underneath that, okay? Because that actually really speaks to me, to your fear.
For me, the part of this that just makes me so angry is that I've run around and chased and nursed and looked after kids for the last 11 years. It makes me angry to think that he's going to just be able to walk away from this marriage because it was his decision. The biggest investment isn't the house. The investment is Lionel's career.
When people are as vulnerable as Sally, mental health professionals help create a level playing field.
So the role of the coach is to really help the client to develop assertiveness skills, to be stronger, more focused, more present at the negotiations, better able to negotiate for themselves in the moment, developing the skills that they're going to need for the rest of their lives.
The neutral financial professional's priority: help clients develop a clear understanding of their financial situation and the consequences of their choices.
It's all about diffusing fear. Oftentimes we will talk about having several plans. We go look at a plan that might be worst case scenario, and then we work backwards. The thing that we don't want people to do is to have to make decisions in a moment of panic. It's much better to discuss alternatives, pros and cons. What happens if this happens in the next 3 months? What happens if this happens in the next 6 months? Let's talk about it. Let's brainstorm now so that if issues come up, they're prepared and they're not reacting out of fear.
In the collaborative divorce, emotions are normalized. Each person's feelings are acknowledged, and the team looks for ways to satisfy the interests of both.
Your role, Sally, is an honored role. Your role is a respected role, as is Lionel's. I was trying to refocus the conversation on looking forward, not backwards. With divorcing couples, they can both, any husband and wife can look backwards and point fingers at various problems that have occurred. In the collaborative process, we try not to do that, and I was trying to refocus Sally on looking forwards.
The other thing that Danny did so well there was that he really honored what they had built together, and instead of just leaving it there, he was able to honor that and then move them forward from there.
Next, negotiation turns to the most contentious issue: what to do about the shares Sally owns in Lionel's company. Sally has the shares as compensation for her support on the home front. Lionel wants them back.
Down the road, I would feel really, really resentful, if the company takes off and they sell it for millions of dollars, which is a possibility. It is a possibility.
If somewhere down the road you happen to meet someone who makes a lot of money and that person moves into the house, that's going to be pretty hard for me as well, right?
When money discussions get emotional, neutral financial professionals can say what couples can't.
I don't have the same look that can just set somebody off and they just fight. They may fight their spouse, but they're not going to fight me. I can say to somebody, have you thought about how you're going to pay your mortgage for the next 6 months? There's no judgment there. It's just an innocent question. I'm trying to elicit information. Versus somebody, the husband and wife, they may say, you're not working hard enough. If I ask the question, I'm able to take the emotion away from it, and they're able to think about solution, not about blame.
Sally's hurt and angry, and Lionel's defensive. The collaborative lawyers want to stop their clients from saying something they will regret. So they call for a timeout so clients can blow off steam separately. And what's clear here is collaborative lawyers act as advocates for their clients.
So that my piece of work with you is really to make sure that the independence isn't like a rake that you've stepped on that whacks you in the face. Sally wants a clean break. My job is to make certain that she understands the implications of that, both the upside and the downside for that, and that it isn't something that she really regrets later.
What I heard in the room was, the marriage was fine for me, you chose to leave. Doesn't really take into account that maybe it wasn't fine for you. I took Lionel away because I knew that he was feeling a tremendous amount of risk and also pressure to go forward with the deal that was discussed between the two of them before they even came to the lawyers. And I took him away to refocus him on what he was doing and to tell him that he had a variety of options and to ensure that he wanted to go forward as he was.
Sally and Lionel's negotiation gets bogged down by financial uncertainty. It's up to a neutral financial professional to provide clarity.
The financial neutral has a lot of experience in dealing with many, many different types of situations. We anticipate questions that people can't even think about. They don't know what they don't know. And so we are able to elicit a lot of information from them just by asking questions. Have you thought about this? Is this an issue for you? Do you see that this may come up at some point in the future? So we are really peeling back the onion.
By the session's end, Sally and Lionel are upset and angry with one another. But because of the collaborative process, even a few hours later, when Lionel picks up the kids, that anger doesn't spill over onto the children.
Daddy!
How are you, buddy? Good. What you doing?
I'm playing a game.
Those boys head off with their dad, and I don't for 1 minute worry about what's happening there.
Meanwhile, the collaborative team helps Sally and Lionel craft a creative solution to the dilemma of what to do with Sally's shares in Lionel's company.
We actually looked back at their mission statement, and their mission statement really helped us to focus on the kids. And so using the funds from the shares for the kids seemed like a real natural fit.
Sally's shares are put in a fund for the boys, with her getting to keep a portion, diminishing on a sliding scale as time moves on.
The sliding scale gives Lionel, I think, the recognition that he's seeking, because it'll be his hard work that hopefully will make this company successful.
And if there's a sliding scale, that still gives Sally something that recognizes her contribution to the business.
I agree.
The solutions that we are able to come up with in collaborative, they address the financial, they address the emotional, they address the needs of the family. The family's needs are not going to be taken into account when they are in court. They understand that there is no perfect solution. 10 years from now, somebody will be able to say, why did you come up with that? Why did you decide that? And they will both be able to say, we did this because it was in the best purpose of our family, and I still stand by that decision. We are looking for durable solutions, durable settlements, not equal, equitable, but not necessarily equal, but where 10 years from now both of them can look back and say, I understand why I did it then, and I would do the same thing again today.
The impasse is broken. Sally and Lionel are ready to sign an agreement.
How are we feeling, Sally? Ready to sign?
Relieved.
Really relieved. Oh, that's great. I'm so glad.
Yeah.
I'm so glad.
And sad.
Yeah.
Really sad. This is signing away my marriage, right? So.
The collaborative divorce process often offers a quicker resolution than court. Clients and professionals determine the process so clients can gain control and set the timetable.
In retrospect, what I see as the great value of a collaborative divorce is just the brevity of the whole process. It was a painful time, angry, all of those things, and then it was over. And that, I think, is so valuable. When I see people who are stuck in the process for months or years, I don't know how they hold it together. I don't know how they are able to preserve any sort of amicable relationship for down the road.
With their deal signed, Lionel reflects on what's lost and what's gained.
Missing the laughter at the old house is probably the biggest thing. But at the same time, we're bringing the laughter here, and that's what brings this house alive. Bedtime. I'm going to take Derek to bed now because he's tired. Okay, now let's go.
I think we have a great agreement for our kids. Makes me feel happy for them, and I feel proud of Lionel and me.
I really feel that I am contributing to helping families in need. When you see the movement of people, the growth in people, where you're able to take away the fear and they say, I may not be happy, but I understand. I know I now have a plan for my future, and I know my family is going to be okay. It's tremendously rewarding work.